Amsterdam, the capital of the Netherlands, grew up on the banks of the River Amstel in around 1275. Amsterdam's most flourishing period was in the 17th century. Almost all of the goods then being traded in the world were stored in Amsterdam. In the 17th century, rich merchants built large townhouses and warehouses alongside the characteristic canals. This made it possible to ship the merchandise from door to door. A canal cruise is one of the best ways to discover the history of Amsterdam. The Dutch East India Company was set up in the Netherlands in the 16th century. Above all, the company traded in herbs and spices, which it brought from Asia in its ships. The Amsterdam is a replica of one of the merchant ships of the day. The Maritime Museum shows the maritime history of the Netherlands. The building in which the museum is housed was built in 1656 on 18,000 wooden piles, and contains an important collection of paintings and models of ships that date back to the 17th century. In Madame Tussauds, you can come face to face with famous figures from various countries, past and present. You can even see Queen Beatrix, the head of state of the Netherlands. Vincent van Gogh is undoubtedly one of the most famous artists there has ever been. The Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam presents a great overview of his life's work. The Rijksmuseum is the largest museum in the Netherlands with a varied collection. Among other things, it contains the most complete collection of Dutch art from the 15th to the 19th century. The most famous paintings were those done in the 17th century by artists such as Vermeer and Rembrandt. The Concertgebouw, which is opposite the Rijksmuseum, dates back to 1888. This is the home of the internationally acclaimed Royal Concertgebouw Orchestra. The concert hall is famous for its unique acoustics. From way back in its history, Amsterdam has always been a city of diamonds. During the Spanish Inquisition in the 16th century, Jewish people fled to Antwerp and Amsterdam, only bringing with them their most valuable possessions, diamonds. The brilliance of a diamond is only revealed once it has been cut by a highly skilled craftsman. During a tour of the diamond house, you can see how the diamond cutters create the facets which cause the light to be reflected from one facet to another. This is what gives the diamond its unique sparkle. The Anne Frank house is where the Jewish Frank family lived during the Second World War. It was here that Anne wrote the diary which has since become so famous. Unfortunately, Anne's father was the only one to survive the war. It was he who saw to it that the diary was published. Heineken was originally a Dutch beer brewery. The old brewery in Amsterdam is now open to the public. A tour of the brewery reveals all kinds of things about the process of brewing beer. In this unusual green building near the central station, you can go on a voyage of discovery through a world of science, technology and art. At the Nemo Science Centre, you can experience the laws of physics for yourself. The traditional coastal resort of Scheveningen is on the North Sea coast. Over the years, it has become an extension of The Hague. The impressive Kurhaus is the most characteristic building on the boulevard. The Hague is the home of the Dutch government. The ceremonial opening of each new year of government takes place in the Ridderzaal. Rotterdam is literally the smallest city in the Netherlands. All of the highlights and typical Dutch scenes have been recreated here on a scale of 1 to 25. Everything that the Netherlands is famous for is here in miniature. You can see the whole of Amsterdam at a glance. The Dam, the Rijksmuseum, the canal-side houses, and you can also see the tallest structure in Rotterdam, the Euromast Tower. The real Euromast in Rotterdam was built in 1960. Rising to a height of 185 metres, the tower is the tallest structure in the city. From the top of the Euromast, there is a fantastic view of Rotterdam and the harbour area. Rotterdam Seaport is also referred to as the Europort because it is the main gateway to Europe. The harbour area and the industry in the surrounding area are very important for the Dutch economy. Some 4.5 million sea containers pass through the port of Rotterdam every year. A tour of the port is a great way to see the mammoth tankers and giant container ships. The old City Hall on Koolsingel is one of the few buildings that survived the bombing during the Second World War intact. The centre of Rotterdam was rebuilt after the war and is famous for its modern architecture. The city of Rotterdam is now characterised by uniquely designed office buildings and residential complexes. Dutch cows are champions when it comes to producing milk. The Dutch will tell you that cheese is their favourite sandwich filling. Since 1939, Alkmaar became the only town in the Netherlands where tourists can still see cheese being bought and sold in the traditional way at an authentic cheese market. On the town square, the inspectors check the quality of the cheese and agree on the price. The cheese porters carry the cheese to the weighing scales where it is weighed by the weighing master. Once the cheese has been weighed, the cheese porters carry the cheese to the buyer's antique vehicles. The Zaanse region, with its many industrial mills, is one of the oldest industrial regions of Europe. All kinds of workshops use the wind power to run their operations. Various mills are now open to tourists. In the Clog Museum, there are clog-making demonstrations on a daily basis. The old towns and little fishing villages around the IJsselmeer are still steeped in the atmosphere of days gone by. Volendam is a famous little fishing village with characteristic green and white painted houses. This is the place to eat a delicious Dutch herring with finely chopped onions. The flower auction in Aalsmeer is the largest flower auction in the world. Every day the auction determines the market price of flowers and plants all over the world. "19 million flowers and 2 million plants are bought and sold here daily. In the spring, people come from all over the world to visit the breathtaking gardens at Keukenhof. 7 million tulips and other bulb flowers create a living work of art. The tulip originally came from Turkey. 400 years ago, traders brought tulip bulbs with them to the Netherlands. There are now more than 100,000 different kinds of tulips, and the Netherlands exports this fabulous flower all over the world. Traditional and modern landscape architecture makes for the most wonderful scenes. Up until 1975, the 300-year-old Paleis Het Loo was the favourite summer residence of the Dutch royal family. These days, the palace is open to the public. The palace is especially famous for its beautifully symmetrical Baroque gardens. Given its magnificent fountains, terraces, English interiors and paintings, Paleis Het Loo is rightfully referred to as the Versailles of the North. At the De Hoge Veluwe National Park, there are bicycles at the ready, so you can cycle through the forests, marshland, moors and sand drifts. It is also the home of the Kröller-Müller Museum, which has a world-famous collection of 19th and 20th century art. The collection was originally owned by Helene and Anton Kröller-Müller, a married couple. In 1935, they gave their collection to the Dutch state, which built a museum to house it. The Kröller-Müller Museum contains a large collection of works by Vincent van Gogh, as well as paintings by Seurat and Picasso and abstract works by Mondrian. The sculpture garden is one of the largest in Europe, presenting a unique collection of sculptures in an ever-changing natural setting. Enter the Efteling theme park and you enter a different world. You can go on a tour of various kingdoms full of fairy tales and magical sensations. The Dutch constantly have to defend their land against the water, for a quarter of the Netherlands is actually below sea level. That is why the Dutch built dikes and small dams, as well as far larger water barriers. Various structures have been built along the coast to protect the Netherlands from the water. These are known as the Delta Works. The Maasland storm surge barrier in the Nieuwe Waterweg has 2 giant doors. The whole barrier is as long as the Eiffel Tower in Paris is high. During stormy weather and very high tides, the doors shut off access to Rotterdam seaport to protect areas further inland from the water. The Eastern Scheldt storm surge barrier is the largest of the Delta Works. This storm surge barrier has the huge sluice-type gate doors which close during heavy storms. These doors are normally left open to allow seawater to flow into and out of the Eastern Scheldt, thus preserving the unique saltwater marine life of the Eastern Scheldt. At Waterland Neeltje Jans, you can see inside the Eastern Scheldt storm surge barrier. Here you can see how the Netherlands is protected against heavy storms and high tides for the next 200 years. At the park, there are all kinds of attractions and activities that have to do with water and the power of water. There is even a chance to experience a gale force 12 hurricane.